Yes, thank y'all so much for having me. We've had lots of burgers and chicken talk already today, so I'm going to keep that theme going. Um, on the LG side, I saw a lot of targeting and segmentation in there, and one thing I didn't see that I was hoping to is that smart device or household loyalty, yes or no? And with just that one simple question, we can start this personalization journey that we've started and really attract and acquire new guests, and then engage with those who are in our loyalty program. So hopefully that gets added sometime, or maybe that already is, and you just got to explain it how that happens. For us in the brand at Whataburger, we are kind of still regionally known, so not everyone might be familiar with the brand, have heard about it. It's been around since 1950. It started in Corpus Christi, Texas, my hometown, as a little burger joint and stand. And the founder back then had a very clear vision that they were going to serve the highest quality ingredients and very big portions at a fair price. And that being kind of grounded in our history, yet forward-thinking and innovative, is still the things we bring today. And when we think about loyalty, it is not a overnight journey. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Loyalty's fickle. And if discounts can make someone jump and leave your brand, then you really don't have true loyalty. And that's where we start a lot of our conversations at Whataburger. Is we've been lucky enough for the last 70 years to serve great food, one burger at a time, and in a friendly environment and experience. And those two things repeated consistently put us in a position to earn trust. And that's where we're lucky enough to be a cult brand, and we don't just stop there. Right, we're trying to take this cult brand and deep customer engagement and create generational loyalty, where we want the same place that your grandparents took you to eat, you're taking to your kids or to your friends. And that is the true win that we're going after. And data helps us get there, right? And personalization is that big piece. And we know loyalty is the gateway to create one-to-one connections. And for us, on the emotional scale side, it starts with that point of difference. And that's your entry to the guest. And for us, that point of difference is food and experience. But it also, with food, one of the things is we're made to order. And we charge more than some of the other places. Our pricing is closer to Shake Shack. So when you think about what they were doing and had great food plus great experience, that worth is absolutely where we think our point of difference is because if you're spending your good money, you're going to get table-side service with a friendly smile, but also great food, and that's got to be worth you paying a little bit more. But with personalization, we know that it's not just about value of food. A lot of times it's convenience in our space. So that personalization helps us start to uncover if we need to start talking about convenience and skipping the line because that is your highest priority of why you would need to eat today. So personalization is kind of the stepping stone and the introduction to that deeper emotional connection because we're really trying to go after every time we message a guest that they know me. We want them to feel that we know what they ordered. We know that they normally come every 16 days, and it's day 17. So let's remind them about their favorite order and get them to come back and retain that frequency that they already have with us. And then also work very hard on driving trial. So we serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Our name is Whataburger, but we sell chicken and breakfast items, and trial is a big part of growing that CLV. So within our loyalty journey, we really look at acquisition cost. We look at CLV, or customer lifetime value, and we also look at churn percent as kind of some of the three big ones when we're just talking about loyalty. That's part of a greater strategy where in our medias we're really focusing on growing the base and using more than half of our transactional dollars to try to acquire new guests. And that's really helped with us. And acquiring new guests is when we get to promote and talk about those brand experiences. So those are kind of some of the loyalty stunts that we've seen earlier. And I know on day one, Domino's had some really great examples of that, where these brand experiences become opportunities for us to promote and acquire new guests faster. So when we think about like our point of difference, our tagline is just like you like it. And our great food has translated, and we've got LTOs that are doing, consumer research and tapping in and helping drive trial and new guests with those bold flavors. But we also bottle and sell our merchandise. So I know this is just fancy ketchup, but there's a lot of spicy ketchup lovers out there too that uses that red jalapeno puree. And we're lucky enough where when we think about loyalty, similar to Chipotle, we're thinking about food and retail, because we know those two things together can really build some long-term wins for markets. So let's get to the data side of it. So one cool thing about being at Whataburger for 16 years and helping them launch their digital experience is that we get to be measuring loyalty in years. So it's fun when you think about cadence of like a single campaign reporting because of something you did one day or for 1 week. We're really looking at the year-over-year incrementality that our digital loyalty program has provided over the last 5 years. So it's 100% focused on incrementality. And what we've done is using a data model that's been learning for the last 4 years. We're able to create these kind of key segments of who our members were. And just to step back for a second, we believe that there is somewhere between 30 and 60 million QSR customers out there in our footprint. And we have successfully acquired 6 million of them, and 3 million of them use our app and loyalty program once a year. And so we're now looking at 3 million people. And we have lots of plans in our loyalty acquisition to grow that 3 million to 5 million in the next 12 months. And what we do know is out of those 3 million, we have people that are champions that visit us every few days. We've got regulars who visit us weekly or monthly. And then we've got these occasionals, right? These mid to light QSR users who are more just occasional. And then we have people that used to use us that don't, that we call zombies. This just one example about the going beyond discounting is now we're only using discounting based upon this model when somebody is slipping out of their cohort. So it's couponing with purpose and using it with data at the right time, not just the old days of us dropping and blasting one offer to 6 million people and talking about redemptions, and we have no idea if that was incremental or what that did long term to the behavior. So this kind of model helps us do that. So had to, all of those different customizations is one of the things on the Just Like You Like It tagline that our brand used to talk about, was that there was 36,864 ways to make your hamburger. And there's a lot more than that now, but what this opened up is our ability to tag people in cohorts, understand what their purchasing history was, and then create content around that. And that's what kind of the next slide is going to talk about. Is what we learned from there is out of all those segmentations, there were some really key journeys that we needed to map out. One of them was the onboarding one, right? Onboarding was so important in that acquisition because we were trying to get new people, show the overwhelming benefit of our program, and bring to life that personalization and they know me and those exclusive experiences. So there was no doubt in people's minds they didn't want to be a part of this thing. And they were right earlier when we were talking about loyalty as not just a program, but we're using all of our social channels and field marketing resources and operations to make it a loyalty community. And so that onboarding into that community is a key journey that has really helped us unlock growth and, of course, reduce churn. Then we have the optimal journey. That includes buy-in like you normally do, plus some little LTOs. And it's the place where if you wanted to survey guests, you can specifically on getting their OSAT score, but the optimal journey is basically helping us maintain and grow that incrementality year over year. Then you got your at-risk and your win-back journey, and that's when they start to slip. One of the key things that we learned was that recency was one of the biggest drivers of keeping people in the program. And for most marketers, we've been focused so long on frequency that it was a nice little aha moment to realize how important recency was to that model. Folks that didn't visit our stores within a certain number of days became very, very hard to win back. And in some cases, we saw that if that got to over 100 days, you could offer them a free burger, a free patty melt, a free whatever, and it wasn't necessarily going to work. So what these journeys helped us do is power the timing and the context of when and where and with what to message our guest to retain that frequency and reduce people losing interest in the program. And then the fun part, and this is the shout out to Braze. So to me, this is the slide that represents in a very simple way what we're doing and why a company like Braze provides automation and scale that our teams wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. So one of the things that these personalized campaigns have done is help us define that they know me. And message based on purchase history has been really great because it's helped our chicken customers continue to visit us at the same frequency and recency. And it also helps us then on that next step on offer-based with purchase data, really lean into trial, right? Trial of trying new day parts, trying new products, and trying new ordering of like delivery and curbside and takeout. So it's a really healthy way for us to start to get the word out and drive engagement and progressively get better with the customer. So we pretty much always start with message first. Once you know that they're aware, then move into a with purchase. And then once you do a with purchase and that doesn't work, move into a offer that could eventually get to be a free trial. And that used to scare us in the franchisees, but it doesn't when it comes to the sense of trialing something new. And then sharing the story with our data on how that one new trial generated a $2 more check average twice more this year, or increased that incrementality of visits half a visit for 6 months or a year. And so the message-based one too is also really big for us in the digital space. We've got our geo location company that helps us provide those geo fences around the stores and allows us to unlock location and messaging and exclusive experiences with our field marketing team like we've never done before. And then the last one is like some brand experiences. And this is really where it's the highest level of emotion, where we really try to be a part of these really big moments in our guests' lives and have a lot of fun with them. So we've got a lot of gamification challenges that we do that tap into the competitive spirit and have those game mechanics that our guests really seem to love. And it drives a lot of high-value action because a lot of times the games are around really high-value things that drive up their engagement or their spend. And we're putting data to that. We used to just do one game for all 6 million people, and now it's by segment. And that requires some segments who visit us a lot to do a high level of purchasing that earn a very high level of reward, but others a low entry that's more realistic to their incrementality with maybe a little bit lower incentive. Sweepstakes, when I heard the teams talking about co-branding and partnerships, we really lean very heavily into that sweepstakes one because it's a great place for us to partner with folks like you see here, where we did an Xbox Series partnership, gave away MLS tickets with Coca-Cola, and being the official hamburger of the Dallas Cowboys, giving away some exclusive experiences with on-field promotions and tickets to the game. And then family friends events, those are kind of just the loyalty stunts that make our champions feel super connected to our brand. And that connection is that deep emotional love that kind of dives into that generational loyalty that we're going after. And that includes things like the basics of, tasting food early, but it's also access to our test kitchen. It's access to our field marketing teams, and it's access to the brand that you really only get when you're a part of our loyalty community. So all of that kind of helped us increase our loyalty acquisition by 13% and was part of our year-over-year loyalty growth where we grew our transactions by 20% and increased our overall satisfaction with our guest by 4%. So in all that, that was fun to talk about because in 6 slides, that was basically 5 years of work. Through that time in that journey, there's some key things that we learned that I thought I might share with y'all if y'all are trying to build those for your brands or whatever part of the journey you're in. And one of those was leading with use cases and architecture. When marketing and IT and sales start to get with each other, if we don't have a very clear picture of how this omni-channel data and our digital flywheels and all of that work together, we're often having discussions that are not aligned and end up with, at the end, things that didn't work like we wanted them to. And so leading with architecture and use cases was a big guide for us to continue to go back to actually make this possible when we were building. And when we're building, integration takes time. There's a lot of great partners in this room, and there's a lot of companies that you got to look at when you're RFPing or RFIing, and we definitely know that takes time. And those architecture and use cases are the guide to get through that really tough part of this journey. A common data model is absolutely key, y'all. If we're trying to scale and update menu items and pricing and all of these things for individuals, if you don't have a common data model, it's almost nearly impossible to scale, or you're not going to get the benefit and the automation and have too high of people cost if you can't figure that out early. So don't try to Frankenstein some systems together. Really take time to learn through that before you do that. And creative teams, get ready. What we saw is that on this personalization journey, we used to have, a commercial, a couple of 13 or 14 different photos for the quarter. And now that is growing to 60 to hundreds. And so it was all of our marketing department that were part of this digital transformation and loyalty focus. And then don't overdo personalization on paid media. That one is really like what we found is that you can try to slice and dice so much on media and end up thinking you've got such great targeting, but it costs a whole bunch of money and the juice is never worth the squeeze. I do believe there's a place for it. Do you have loyalty? Yes or no is a great place to start and not necessarily have to worry about all the other attributes and events of what else could be in there. And then the last one is know the difference between retention versus loyalty. Points programs like $1 equals 10 points and it unlocks all the different menus. That's great, but loyalty is so competitive now, y'all, and everybody's got it, that is closer to a retention program to match what others are doing. And true loyalty is where discounting can't take you away from the brand, even though you might get 1 or 2 little cheat transactions for them. But long term, you got to win the hearts of your guests, and we're doing that by using data and emotional connections.
Keith, that was great. Thank you so much. But we have time for questions of Keith.
You can hear me. Oh,
Yeah.
there it goes. Ooh, okay.
It's on.
Okay. Hi, I'm Morgan. I work at Waze. Thank you for your business.
Yeah.
I obviously, a lot in the day-to-day of my job, I'm thinking about consumption habits of users who are on the road. Specifically thinking of a tourist segment that we can target. Mm-hmm. So people who are visiting from out of town or are further away from their home or work saved location on the app. Not necessarily focused on retention, but have you guys ever considered leaning into the great debate of In-N-Out versus Whataburger versus Shake Shack, and kind of playing into the regional play of you can only get Whataburger when you might, be visiting from out of town? Is that anything you guys have considered?
Yeah, I think a few things there. One of them is we personally believe in the abundance, that there's plenty of room for everybody. And at the end of the day, your food and experience are going to win the vote of the guest wallet. But we also, when In-N-Out moved into town, I think we sent them some orange boots and thanked them because we saw our sales go up. I'd say that with Shake Shack is we're all the quality burger, fresh ingredients, involved in the community. So the good news is we're understanding the guests correctly, and there should be a place for all of them. And we target slightly different guests, but we believe that you can be in the Whataburger loyalty program and the Shake Shack one if you really want to, because there's value in both. And Waze was really good partner for us. I know we got in early and have done some great case studies on that one, so thank you.
Keith, you mentioned the diminishing returns on personalization in paid media, but I'm curious about how you're gauging and where you're seeing diminishing returns, say, on your other communications like email and others, because as you say, you're taxing, this level of personalization taxes your creative teams.
Yeah.
So at what point and where do you start seeing diminishing returns when it comes to super segmenting communications with your members?
It's after the win-back journey fails. And so you've gone through the onboarding and you maybe transacted or you didn't. You're not reacting to our optimal journeys that is using what you ordered in the past and trial offers to get you to do something new. And then your at-risk kind of speeds that up to make sure that you're engaged. So you've already said no to all of those things. And in that win-back journey, once we have our customer care people white glove respond back to you and that doesn't work, we do the worst thing marketers fear the most, and that's not talk about life cycle, it's death cycle. And the death cycle is actually something that's a really good practice for CRM folks to cut the dead weight of your program so you're not overspending on emails that make you have a high spam or never get open.
Death spiral. Good ending point. Keith, thank you so much. That was great.